It's showtime. Yes. I cannot tell you how much I was looking forward to doing this video. I work about 5 feet away and I keep looking at this, staring at this, and just going, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to talk football. I already got some comments in. These are great. These are great. By the way, from what Mike here is referring to is that it looks like it's going to be some snow Friday. The playoff game between the Chiefs and the Browns looks good. I'm going to pop over here to YouTube really fast. I'm going to make sure I am streaming there. Good. Probably am, but and actually, do I have this? Okay. Probably am. All right, my bad. All right. So what I do is I look at this strictly on StreamYard. I don't even look at YouTube. So, make sure you give me some thumbs up, and I appreciate the comments. I got Mike and James are in here. Man, welcome, guys. I got a great show lined up, a lot of content to go over. I'm going to start with the college football national championship. And thanks to another show that I follow. If anybody's interested, I can find it and I'll post the link. Basically, a prop bet was Matt Jones over 3.5 was recommended. I took that, so made a little bit of money on the national championship. Yay me! Not really surprised. Alabama overwhelmed Ohio State. Sean Wade, one of the corners for Ohio State, did a lot of trash talking, did not play well. I think it really affected his draft stock. I thought that he could go with a great game early first. To me, he looks like a third-round draft pick. Now, if he excels at the combine, he could go in the second, but he eliminated any chance he has of going in the first round. He looked really bad. All right, Isaac, i.e. Urban Meyer and the Charger. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to stay there because I did not hear about this. I'm going to grab coffee. I'm going to be right back. Now, is this I did not hear about this. Is he visiting the Chargers, or is this a done deal, Isaac? Because it's not something I've heard of. I actually heard Urban Meyer was interviewing with Jacksonville, and basically Jacksonville put the whole organization's basically on hold for Urban Meyer. So, can you give me some more clarification on that? Because I did not know anything. Angry Marine is in the chat. Welcome, brother. How about them Steelers? Congrats, Brownies, but the dream is over. Yeah, I thought Steelers and the Seahawks. Those are the two teams. Those were the two teams I bet on, Steelers and Seahawks. Both of them laid an egg. But the Browns played really well. It was kind of reminiscent, sorry, Denver Gator, I believe of Super Bowl 46, where the snap goes over Manning's head, and you could tell right away that they weren't going to play an A game. And it really sucked, too, because I really felt like best out of 3 or best out of 5, Denver wins that. But that one game, they just didn't play well. So, Semper Fi to you. Wow. Yeah, I did take the Steelers. Isaac chimes in. They haven't had an official interview, but the Chargers and Myers have been talking via Ian Report. Okay. That actually makes sense. And from what I've heard, Urban Meyer it looks like he's really strongly considering Jacksonville because he wants first pick in the draft, which makes a lot of sense because you can do a few different things with that number 1 pick. And when we start talking about draft content, I'm going to talk about it a lot. But I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that he was actually talking to Chargers. Smart move for him because, hey, look, you're working with Jacksonville. Let's see what the Chargers have to offer because you already have the quarterback established. Just because Trevor Lawrence looks like he could be a superstar doesn't mean he will be, but you have the proof actually with Herbert. So it's also very interesting. So I didn't know that. Do you know how those Steelers are you to go out there and catch the ball? I didn't do it. Roethlisberger threw all kinds of bad passes. Okay. I didn't think he played that bad. I mean, he had over 500 yards passing. That's pretty rare. I just think they laid an egg, man. It happens. Sometimes you don't play your A game. And that's what happens in the playoffs. You don't play your A game, you're going to lose. I mean, listen, I'm jacked up. All right. I am really jacked up, but I'm drinking coffee anyway. Stevie Keys, welcome, brother. I don't have my picks yet. Do not worry. I'm going to go over all 4 games in intense detail Friday. I just wanted to talk a little bit National Championship. I wanted to talk Doug Pederson getting fired from Philadelphia. The rumors are that I heard today was that Doug Peterson's the prime candidate for the Jets, and Adam Gase is the front runner for Philly. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? So, and then James chimes in. Lions are now interested in Kevin Colbert, possibly have offer on the table. I did not know that. Roethlisberger did throw 4 interceptions. 2 were bad. I think 2 were tipped. But I just, bottom line, some teams just play a bad game. Some teams just play a bad game. And that's what I saw at Pittsburgh. And Cleveland came really ready to play. Very impressive. Very impressive. Denver Gator chimes in. If Urban goes to the NFL, Jacksonville, most likely best spot is a lifetime Gator. Urban in Jacksonville would be revered as a god. You know what? I feel embarrassed because I didn't even touch base on that. I will say this. I always felt that you tell me, you're a Gator fan. So when I say this, I'm not a Gator fan. I always thought they liked Spurrier more because he's from Ohio. He's from the Midwest. I mean, he started out at Ohio State, went to Ohio State, had success at both teams, a great college coach. But I always felt that when he was in Florida, they always liked Spurrier more. But I think that, he would have a I think the fan base would be behind Urban Meyer, though. And I think that's important. I think that he would have to have a lot of player control, which is also important. It's debatable, but the ownership, I think, is significantly better in Jacksonville. Kind of trashing the Chargers a little bit. So I'm sorry, Isaac, but that's kind of been a downfall of the Chargers. So, it surprised me too. It really surprised me too. If he goes to the Jets, I'm thinking they have to give him a lot of control and power. That's kind of what they're thinking. Basically, the reason why he's being mentioned with New York is that look at the quarterbacks he worked with. All right, he was in Kansas City with Alex Smith and Mahomes. All right, he played behind Brett Favre. All right, he was in Philly, obviously, with Wentz. But he's got a long time working with quarterbacks and having success. So if you go ahead and you take him, you kind of say, here's his interview. The interview number 1 question is going to be, what do you think about Sam Darnold? And if you can build that around, because keep in mind, you have the Seattle pick. So it's what is it? The 24th, 23rd pick in the draft. Plus, you have this number 2 pick in the draft. So Let's say he goes there and he goes, yeah, I can turn Darnold around. I can fix this guy. I can make this guy into a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. If that's the case, then you have the second pick in the draft, which you can trade down, and you have, I think it's a 23rd. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So I have a lot of draft capital that I can build around with Darnold. The defense wasn't bad. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. If he says, hey, I want to get rid of Darnold, the guy that I want is this guy coming out of college, then it might be a little different. But I could actually see Pederson going to the Jets and having success. I am floored, however, that Adam Gase was the front runner in Philly. That to me is extremely surprising. Another thing about Joe Douglas, who's the GM, is I forget how, but they worked together before. I don't think it may have been in Philly, but they have a relationship together. So I do think that Pederson going to the Jets makes sense to me. Gase going to Philly does not. If Urban Meyer does want to coach in the pros, I think Jacksonville's the best spot. Yeah, and the ownership will give Urban Meyer a leash. He'll give him a lot of control, a lot of player personnel control. He'll let him basically kind of be the GM, even though he probably won't have the title. Just same thing in Kansas City. Andy Reid's not the GM, but if Andy Reid wants somebody, the Chiefs are going to get that player. So it's so the Lions to sign Pittsburgh's GM after watching the Browns punk his working with the Steelers organization, though, is a big plus. And I'll be honest, I haven't done research on the guy yet, so I couldn't give you my authority. I know Denver just signed. It was director of player personnel and scouting from Minnesota. And also like the fact that they signed him to a 6-year deal. It's a long-term deal, so they're going to give him a long opportunity to make things happen. And also, even though I don't know how much control he had over this roster, but look at Minnesota and what they did is that they went ahead and tried a bunch of different things at quarterback. They drafted the quarterback, finally settled on Cousins, and they built the team around Cousins. So I think you're going to have a very similar process with Denver. You have your quarterback. He'll have a year tryout. So, in 2021, he'll do the tryout. And if that doesn't work, then they'll probably go in free agency, which is the same process Elway's done in the past. So that's a pretty good move for the Broncos, I think, even though I don't know too much about the guy. Look at what Minnesota did. It's a very similar process to what Denver's done in the past. And that's you go after your guy first, then we'll go via free agency and see how that pans out. So this kind of tells me that in 2021, Denver's going to stick with Locke, but if he's not the guy, they'll be very aggressive. So I kind of like that. As a Chiefs fan, I'd rather see Doug go to the Jets or another NFC team rather than Chargers. I would too. And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. I'm going to get the comments, and then I'm going to talk about a very small thing that happened that hasn't generated a lot of noise, but it should generate a lot of noise for our Chiefs. Something that happened that's very significant and very important and not good for all Chiefs fans. Okay, yeah. Okay. But it's Trevor Lawrence. That's awesome, Denver Gator. Funk, welcome to the chat, brother, man. Welcome to the chat. So, man, it's good to see you here, man. I was talking national championship. Now we're talking about head coaches. Basically, it's kind of what we're feeling right now. I didn't realize that you guys were looking to pick from the Steelers tree. I think that's a good move. I wouldn't let Gase run my concession stands. That's pretty awesome. Music City guy, what's up, man? Hey, man, you know me. I'm doing great. Not gonna talk trash on your Titans. That they have a good young team. I had a good beat on this team. I said that they were going to be better than last year's team, but they're not AFC contenders yet. They need to get pass rusher. Now they signed Vic Beasley. They signed Clowney. Neither one of them really panned out. Harold Landry, one of my favorite players in the league, who I got a big man crush on. Really good player. He needs some help on the other side. That's probably your first round pick. Spoiler alert from when we get start talking about the draft. Yeah. And I don't know too. I'll be honest with you. I don't know too much about the guy, but I do think that Minnesota had a really good blueprint in place. They had like 15 draft picks. They had to blow up their team this year. I also like what they did with the quarterback position. Remember they drafted Bridgewater, and that didn't work out. So then they had what's his name? He was in LA. Case Keenum. He had that MVP season when he took over, but they didn't go with him long term. They brought in Cousins. So you kind of have to look at that's kind of the blueprint that you're going to go with, and what you're going to do is draft pick. You had Bridgewater there; he'll get first shot, just like Locke would get the first shot. So I see the similar correlation. I think it's a good fit, and also I love the fact that you give him a 6-year deal. You're giving him lots of time. So I think it's a good move. Congratulations on the Denver Broncos. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the Raiders did. Very smart move. Very smart move. I'll talk about that here in a bit. Here, I want to get through the comments here. Yeah. Imagine a team with Gase as head coach and general manager. Oh my God. Funk, I 100% agree with you here. I could see him getting eventually to be an offensive coordinator again, but I had no idea that he was being considered as a head coach. I would bring him in to be a quarterback coach, absolutely, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Say that is the Ohio State. Gase getting his second head coaching job before a lot of coaches haven't gotten their first is troubling for the NFL's image. You're right, Stevie. You're 100% correct. It's not a good look for the NFL. It's really not. And there's some talk now that Eric Bieniemy may stay in Kansas City. I actually thought that Eric Bieniemy might take the job in Philly, and that Pederson would take the offensive coordinator position in Kansas City for a year while he weighs his option. So, I mean, yeah. Supposedly Bob is heading to Bama. No. That position's actually been filled. I believe it's Mike Bobo, former Georgia quarterback, and I can't remember where he was at, but Mike Bobo has that position. I believe that's correct. Yeah, that's actually some good stuff here. It's actually some good stuff. Or was that comment at? Yeah, that was good. Ouch. Damn, Chad. Yeah. And he's referring to this. Yeah. So there's some great comments here. I would too. Jimmy. No, man, I started talking a little bit about national championship. We're just talking about head coaching vacancies, positions. The rumor mill was that Adam Gase is the front runner in Philly, which I was floored about, and then Doug Pederson is the front runner for the Jets, which makes a lot of sense. One thing I want to talk about real fast is that some teams made some pretty smart decisions on the offseason. Dallas Cowboys signed Dan Quinn, the former Atlanta Falcons coach, as defensive coordinator. And that, I think, is a really good move. Keep in mind when you run that cover 3 defense, right? It only works if you have studs along that front line, which Dallas really doesn't. They have some decent players. But I don't know. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, if you want to call him a stud, yeah, that may work. But it sounds like he's trying to recreate what he had in Green Bay with this really great offense and mediocre defense. That won him a Super Bowl. that won him a Super Bowl in Green Bay. So I like that move in Dallas. But yes, Denver Gator, I'm glad you posted this here. The Raiders don't even know who they hired. They posted a picture of Wizen Hunt as their defensive coordinator. So that's actually really, really funny. Because what they did is they did something really brilliant. The Raiders brought in Gus Bradley, the Chargers defensive coordinator, as their defensive coordinator. Then they posted a picture of Ken Wisenhunt on their social media page, which is really stupid, but it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but it's actually a brilliant move because the Chargers defense has had success against Kansas City. You bring a guy from one divisional rival to another where he stays within the division, and he had success against Kansas City. And he also worked with Ron Marinelli, who was defensive line coach, acting defensive coordinator. And these guys, I didn't realize this at the time, but these guys work together in Tampa Bay. So what they're going to do is they'll probably run more of a Tampa 2 defense, which is a system scheme with a hybrid cover 3. And when you are trying to win a division, you go after the top dog, which is Kansas City Chiefs. So the Raiders actually did something really smart this offseason. Didn't get a lot of notice around the NFL, but that was a brilliant move. Now they just have to get players to fit that system because keep in mind, Clyde Farrell, a couple years ago, they drafted him 4th overall, massive bust. Any type of Tampa 2 cover 3 defense, you need studs along that defensive line. That's something the Raiders are going to have to do through the draft and free agency in order to work. But I thought it was a really under the radar, brilliant move by the Raiders. So, I mean, when I break down all 32 teams after the season, I use a plus minus system. That hiring alone gives me plus rankings for the Raiders, and it gives me a plus ranking for the Dallas Cowboys because they're going to go back. Ron Marinelli was the coach, defensive coordinator in Dallas, so they're going to go back to running kind of a cover 3, very similar, but not the same defense that Mike Nolan wanted to run because I thought that was idiotic in a pandemic, switch schemes completely. Now you're switching back to the original scheme. A little more basic, a little more dumbed down. And if you're Dallas Cowboys, you're not trying to be the 85 Bears. You just need a middle-of-the-pack defense, and that's probably what you're going to get. So good move by Dallas Cowboys. Brilliant move by the Raiders. Yes, Mike Kafka is being talked about as the head guy in Philly. I saw that on the NFL Network. He's the Chiefs quarterbacks coach. I heard – and I should have sent this to you because I think I saw it on Twitter. I don't remember where it was, but I was told he turned it down. What I heard, the current front runner for Philly is Adam Gase, which floors me. But I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to say. Yeah, Music City guy. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That's what. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I can imagine. Okay, the Jets have to talk to Doug Pederson. The Eagles, I don't know why they would consider Gase. I don't get that at all. Not smart. If they essentially did a trade of head coaches, imagine the craziness in Philly. You know what we need? We need to fire a head coach who led us to the Super Bowl and hire the head coach. Exactly. I don't get it. Alex, welcome, brother. He says, how's it going, Dan? The Texans have asked to interview Bieniemy, and the team is basically having a mutiny to get Esterby fired. It's basically Watson or Esterby. Going to see where McCain's loyalties are. You know what I found most surprising, and I'm going to try to keep this rant to a minimum, but Andre Johnson, the Texans' great wide receiver. By the way, I love top 10 lists, and people forget how good Andre Johnson was. If you got to realize he played with a variety of different quarterbacks. Houston wasn't very good, didn't win a Super Bowl, but Andre Johnson is maybe the most underrated wide receiver of all time. Here's a dude who was 6'3", 230, ran a 4.3, great hands, ran routes, blocked, did everything and anything you would want from a wide receiver. He was a quiet dude. I remember I heard because he played on maybe you could argue one of the greatest teams of all time with the University of Miami. And there's teammates are like, yeah, I don't think he said one word to me all year. He was a quiet dude. He chimed in on this. And he said that this is a team that wastes talent. And I'm like, oh my God. Let me just tell you this right now. Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere. You've probably seen 101 different trade scenarios for Deshaun Watson. They're lots of fun. Make one up if you want. The only one I saw that even made a little bit of sense, and it won't happen, was trading him to Miami for Tua in number 3 and some other stuff. But that's the only one that made even a modicum of sense. And if I'm right, Deshaun Watson's from Florida. That's because he has a no trade clause in his contract. So I think maybe he'd want to go home, but I don't think he's going anywhere. But it's really I was really surprised to hear Andre Johnson, of all people, getting involved in this. I mean, ever since he retired, I've not heard a word from the dude. One of my favorite players, man. I forgot how much I love that dude. One of my all-time favorite wide receivers. Does not get the credit he deserves. Very underrated player. But Watson will be the quarterback of the Houston Texans. Don't worry. Esterby, will he get fired? Will he not get fired? I don't know. A lot of things are going to happen in the front office. So a lot of things are going to happen in the front office. So you're going to see a lot of changes over the next couple of weeks, and we'll always talk about it here. We will always talk about it. You're not concerned, even with his success, that the amount of experience Mahomes and Reed are gaining against the Tampa 2 might hurt them. You're not concerned that even with his success at the amount. Okay. Are you talking about? Okay. I'm a little confused by that. Are you talking like from the Chiefs' perspective or the Raiders' perspective? From the Chiefs' perspective, it's very easy to coach against a system, a scheme. But they've had success against Kansas City. I think the Raiders are a team that, of all the teams in the AFC West, I think the Raiders, okay, from the Raiders' perspective, no, because I think the Raiders, I love how the Raiders are really attacking Kansas City. During the offseason, I loved what the Chargers did. The Chargers said, hey, look, we're going to build a great defense. Well, the Raiders got an offense built. Now they're going to build a defense. So that, to me, is very, very scary. As far as the Raiders are concerned, amount of experience, you're not going to be Andy Reid's argument, besides Belichick, or maybe even more than Belichick, the most experienced mind in the NFL. But the thing is with that defense is that it's very simple. Here's how you beat Kansas City. Everybody knows this, or NFL personnel do. Your 4 has to be able to put pressure on Mahomes. Your 4 has to beat their 5, and that's the whole system and meeting behind the Tampa 2. It's a very simple premise. Your front 4 beats the front 5 in an offensive line. It's very simple. You want big, aggressive, physical corners, which Raiders do have. Speed at linebacker, which they don't. But they need to build that defensive line. It's very simple. Your front 4 beats Kansas City's 5 offensive linemen, you have a chance. If you have to resort to blitzing or exotic schemes, you're going to lose because of the amount of experience that Andy Reid has. And that Mahomes' biggest attribute is from the neck up. So, yeah. Kind of feel bad for Gus, way more talent. Yeah, there's a lot more talent. But I think the Raiders, because of this move, I think they're going to be a lot more aggressive. Now it has to build from scratch against Locke, Mahomes, and Herbert. Yeah, that is a thing. They do have to build from scratch, but they're very aggressive in last year's draft. This year, it wouldn't surprise me if they draft 3 linemen and 2 or 3 linebackers. Remember Carolina, how they drafted the whole draft was on defense? It wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders did that. The offense is fine. They need some help among the offensive line, but that's it. They're set. Skill positions are fine unless Jacobs is. Remember he had that DUI. Somebody put in here in the chat that it was a wreck. I didn't realize that, but I mean he may miss 2 or 4 games, but it doesn't really matter. Now if it's more than 4, they got Booker and they can work it out. But I mean if it's 2 to 4 games, it's no big deal. So. But yeah, they will need to rebuild. But I like the fact that they're aggressive and they're going after a defensive coordinator that has had success against Kansas City. So I like that. But Gus Bradley looks at this as I think it's a great opportunity for Gus Bradley because he knows this division. And I also think that he'll have a little extra fire against the Chargers too. So. Maybe not, but he does work with Marinelli and Gruden before, so it's not like it's a cold slate. He's going with coaches he's worked with before in the system. They just need a lot of personnel help. Now I know people aren't happy we didn't interview him immediately, but at least this new GM did the right thing, and they asked him for one the first day he started his search. Alex, I'm embarrassed. I didn't know Esterby was promoted to GM. I didn't know you actually had a GM in place already. I'm embarrassed to admit that. That's something I probably should have known. He told Watson to stand his ground and not force a trade. The media loves to say, which isn't true. He said to force change for the better. I'm tired. No, he's not going to be traded. Let's get that very clear. He's staying in Houston, and I like the fact that he's pissed. I like the fact that he's like, hey, things have got to get different around here. I like that. But no, yeah, don't worry. He's not being traded. You're not going to hear that from me. You're not going to hear that from me. If somebody wants to put a comment in there, if you want to post a mock trade, I am not joking. I've seen probably at least 50 mock trades with Deshaun Watson, and I laugh at all of them. He's not going anywhere. So other teams have asked for an interview before. Are you okay with the coaching candidates? Okay, Eric. If you're talking about Eric Bieniemy, this during the bye week, he's been allowed to at least talk. Yeah, from the Raiders' perspective, no. The Raiders' perspective. The blueprint to beat Kansas City is available. Now they got to coach it. Once coach the scheme, now they just got to get players. So, yeah, I don't follow basketball, but yes, Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets today. Most of Houston didn't care because we lost our fans for his activity to force a trade. If Watson goes, we have collectively agreed as a city to trade. Don't worry, Watson's staying there. But I thought it was very ironic that Andre Johnson, arguably the quietest superstar of all time, made a public appearance supporting Deshaun Watson. I thought it was cool. No, you're not going to hear that from me. You're not going to hear a Watson trade from me. No, he's staying there. It's entertaining. People that want to think that they know football have been saying this, but yeah. Pat is going to have so much experience going up Tampa 2, so he'll be able to defeat them in his sleep. Yeah. Here's the thing with the Tampa 2. There's holes in the defense. It's by design, but Mahomes can beat that. Mahomes excels, and you got to know what you're looking against, and yeah, he'll be able to defeat it. But bottom line, if you have 4 that can put pressure on Mahomes, and then you can do the 7 that can cover all that speed and room, or all the space in the room can be covered. That 7, then you have some things. Another thing is that what the Tampa 2 does, it's a minor thing, is that they want to do more of a press, bump and run in the beginning, and then they have a trail zone. And I made a video a long time ago breaking down the Tampa 2 defense. I might, if you want to, go through an archive of my video. I did it last year before the Super Bowl. I did an in-depth video kind of breaking down the Tampa 2 defense on a whiteboard. It's designed with holes, but one thing it does very well is that the corners are a play like a press man, so it eliminates a lot of screen passes, quick, what do you call them? Not hitch routes, but there's like a little where the wide receiver just turns around, catches the ball immediately. The Tampa 2 defense defends against that. Basically, long out routes are the kryptonite, and that's something Mahomes excels at. So, yeah. Hopefully the Texans can't interview Bieniemy till after first. Yeah, I'm hoping so too, man. I'm hoping so too. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Steelers meltdown against the Browns. Should have won that game. 11-0. The next 28-3. They really should have beat the Browns. They just laid an egg. Just laid an egg. Seen it happen before, but the Steelers have a very interesting decision what they want to do, because it's not about you have Roethlisberger's not committed to coming back 100%. There's some free agents on the team. There's some age all over the team. Sooner or later, you got to blow that team up. The question is, do you do it now, or do you do it next year, or the year after? I mean, it is a little ironic that Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell are still playing in the playoffs and Steelers are not. So that's a good thing, though. Stevie says you have to have a great front four and a good offense, and have a good front four depth too. Thinking of Bosa and Ford and Bosa and Ingram standing on the sideline at the end of the games. Yeah. The whole blueprint behind the Tampa 2 cover 3 is that great front four, and the Raiders got at best an average front four, and I think that's being generous. So yeah. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, Pagano retired from the Bears. He took over from Fangio, who obviously went to your Broncos. Kind of surprised about this, to be honest with you. I thought maybe he was not happy with Gase. I'm sorry, not Gase, Nagy, isn't his name Gase too? Isn't it Gase? The GM, drawing a blank. And then Matt Nagy, I thought maybe he was upset at that and retired. I don't think so. But it wouldn't surprise me if he wants to come back into coaching. Remember he had cancer and beat that. He's an older guy. Pace. Thanks, Stevie. So don't read too much into that. He may come back and may not, but ultimately the Bears, it's kind of an interesting thing, but it is a dark spot for the Bears, because the defense is what they built their team around. Now they got to find a good replacement, and they need to find somebody who can coach really well, because the offense got all sorts of issues. So Mike, what's up, brother? Says, hey, Dan, the Browns game looks awesome. Any concern to your Chiefs? Absolutely, because what I'm going to break down all 4 divisional games Friday, and I'll go into a lot more detail, but ultimately, how you want to beat Kansas City besides defensively is beating you can't blitz, but you can go ahead and put pressure with 4 on Mahomes. That's how you do it. And bottom line, Myles Garrett, as good of a pass rushing defensive end as there is. Running the ball, controlling the clock, yeah, absolutely, it concerns me. Andy Reid after a bye is as good as it gets. There's some holes in the Browns secondary, but yeah, absolutely, it does concern me, because you have, in my opinion, Nick Chubb, when healthy, second best running back in football. He's really good. Kareem Hunt was public saying this is personal. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But yeah. It does concern me, because bottom line, how do you beat Mahomes? Well, we keep his ass on the bench. So yeah, it does concern me. It actually does. Barry Sanders would say he was the most humble, but then again, he would let Andre take the credit. Andre. I'm drawing a blank. But then again, he would let Andre take the credit. I'm drawing a blank on Andre. Andre Johnson for the Texans. I know you're not talking Andre Ware, but Barry Sanders is very humble. Andre Johnson just was quiet, man. I haven't thought about Andre Johnson. Then I saw that and I was like, oh God, how good was this guy, man? That's the one thing I keep forgetting how good he was. That you know what, Alex? I did know that. I apologize. Yeah, I know. I did know that. We talked about this the last show. I am so sorry. I effed up there. Yeah, we talked about this too already. I'm sorry. I forgot. And that's smart. Yeah. So I apologize. I know better. I sorry, man. I effed up. G or Kelsey say by the time the Chiefs found out they're playing the Browns, Mahomes already had a full notebook of notes. Actually, I thought it was just the opposite. Kelsey had a full notebook of notes. But one thing about Mahomes and Kelsey that's really overlooked is how much film work and how much studying they do. There's a lot of stuff above the neck that these guys do. Yeah, the cops are after me. Because this show's so damn good. They're after me because I don't have enough likes. No, I'm joking. But give me a thumbs up. I'm watching this on StreamYard. I have no idea. I may have 5,000 thumbs down. I have no clue. But the Chiefs will be ready. The Chiefs will be ready. Oh my God, 41 million, 23. If they, I don't know if they're going to cut him, but I will say this, that he could go to a backup role. They could draft somebody. This could be the year where they get very aggressive, try to trade up for a quarterback. It'll be exciting to see what the Steelers do. But yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting situation. He's not the same quarterback. But I didn't realize the contract was like that. Funk is spot on about Sanders. Yeah. Sanders was so good, man. Sanders good. Yeah, it's Ryan Pace. I couldn't believe her. Stevie, I'm bad with names. I'm bad with names. They need to get rid of Big Ben. He's done as an elite QB, just wasting space on that team and hurting their chances to go far into the playoff. His time might be over. He's never been a picture of health. The arm has decreased dramatically. The Steelers aren't committed to him, and they may just have to bite the bullet this year and lose out on 41 or 23 million or whatever it is. It would not surprise me if they draft a quarterback and say, "Hey, look, you're going to be our guy, sink or swim." They've been drafting quarterbacks for the last couple of years, and none of them's panned out. I actually thought that the Oklahoma State kid, and drawing a blank on his name, and as per usual, at least I didn't call him Tannehill, the kid out of Oklahoma State. I was really high on the kid. I'm drawing a blank. Mason Rudolph. Okay, I thought Mason Rudolph was going to be the guy, but he doesn't look like it yet. But I don't know. I really don't know if I'm 100% on board with that. I could see them getting a running back in the draft, Najee Harris, the Alabama kid. I've seen a lot of mock drafts of him going to Pittsburgh. Put him on Pittsburgh. Rely less on Big Ben. Maybe he got something. Maybe he can do another year with Big Ben. I don't know. He's not the same quarterback. That much is obvious. Is he terrible though? I don't know. I don't know. Alex, most people don't think Cassier's move to request an interview was genuine. May not be, but he had to do it. I'm not fully concerned with the Browns' run game. The Chiefs struggle more with speedier running backs. Well, definitely Mahomes. Maybe okay. Good to know. Good to know. Alex chimes in. Haven't heard that many people say that in my Texans circle, Stevie. If they think it's disingenuous, it could be to appease Watson. I haven't heard any fans say that. We're going to find a lot more to come out when he brings in a head coach and who he brings in as a head coach. But I'm glad at least that he's reached out to Bieniemy, because I thought it was a bad move that Bieniemy interviewed. Well, at the time, 5, he hasn't interviewed with Philly, but why didn't he interview with Houston to begin with? So Jimmy's excited to watch Browns versus Chiefs. I'm thinking a high-scoring game. Yeah, the over-under is 57. There's snow, showers Friday, but the weather is going to be good Sunday. You may, if you are going to take some action on the over-under, wait till Friday with the snow. You're in Chicago, so you know how it is. It snows on Sunday. It's 50 by it snows on Friday. It's 50 by Sunday. It's going to be one of those deals. So you see a lot of snow. You'll see some panic. You'll see some unders, and then wait till it dips. But yeah, I'm expecting a high-scoring game. I'm expecting a very high-scoring game. Alex says Browns versus Bills in the AFC Championship game. Andy Reid after a bye is pretty good. I don't see him losing to the Browns, but man, it's a weird year, man. Weird year. Anything could happen. You don't have to. You know, after being here for a whole year, you don't have to agree with me. You do not have to agree with me. Mike and Alex here are both on the Bills going to the Super Bowl. They didn't look that good. They could have easily lost that game to the Colts, just to be fair. Bills versus Chiefs or Browns for AFC Championship. I don't know, man. I don't know. You're right. I will say this, and I don't want to kick a guy when he's down, but if you told me Tennessee was going to hold Baltimore to 20, I'm saying Tennessee moves on. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. They needed to do more offensively. Not a good scheme. But, hey, man, you get somebody opposite Landry. You're one or two pieces away from being an elite team. Mike's been saying this for a long time. Mike chimes in, Bills versus Bucks Super Bowl still alive. Absolutely. If Tampa Bay gets by the Saints, I really, really think that they'll get by Green Bay. If they win this weekend, they're going to be my favorite. Green Bay has some issues along the offensive line. I think the Rams could make that a very tough game. It depends on how good Goff is. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. I'm not sold on Green Bay's defense at all. Now they have offensive line situations. If the Bucks beat the Saints, which is a big if, all right, a big if, but if they beat the Saints, I think they're in the Super Bowl. I really do. They'll beat Green Bay. In Green Bay, I don't care what the weather is. I don't care what the weather is. This is awesome. Big Ben screaming on the sidelines. They gave up porn for this. Denver Gator, you are awesome. Andre Johnson gets forgotten because of the steroid addict. B. Cushing being there, and the fact Calvin Johnson was a little bit better. He was. Sort of how Tim Brown gets forgotten because of Jerry. Funk, why do you say things I wish I would have said? And just like Tim Brown had like 19 quarterbacks, Jerry Rice had 2 of the best. Calvin Johnson got to work a lot with Matthew Stafford, who I think is a really good quarterback. And then how many quarterbacks was with Andre Johnson? I forgot about Cushing. I completely forgot about Cushing. He won Defensive Player of the Year, and then I think the next year missed like 8 games. He was actually on the coaching staff for the Texans for a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, I forgot about Cushing. And you're right. I wish I would have thought of that analogy because people. People tell me I tell people all the time Tim Brown is one of the greatest receivers to ever play. He might have Jerry Rice numbers if and James is right too. He would have Jerry Rice numbers if he didn't have like 25 different quarterbacks play. Yeah. James asked a very great question. We need to soon, man. I need to get that. I don't get it. Bills versus Rams Super Bowl, Rams winning it. That's interesting. That is interesting. I have a hard time thinking the Rams can win 2 games. I could say I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to do a lot of breakdown. I'm going to give out the in-depth analysis on it. But the Rams match up pretty good against Green Bay. I don't know how they match up either against Tampa Bay or the Saints. But that's interesting. I'm torn this weekend thinking either Chiefs versus Ravens rematch or Chiefs versus Bills rematch. Right now I'm leaning towards Ravens. I'm going to break down all the games, but I think the Ravens can't be overlooked. The running game is solid. They match up pretty well with those 3 corners. They match up really well in the pass game, even though and then Naganwe, whatever. They easily have the better defense. They easily have the better running game, and that wins a lot in the playoffs. So, yeah. And Denver Gator, you're right, man. Funk is spitting crazy knowledge. It isn't such elite talent isn't talked about because they aren't surrounded by drama. Actually, Denver Gator, you're always spitting great knowledge, man. It's one of the greatest things about doing this show is that you guys, it's really great because, man, I got like a bunch of really smart football fans. I got some really smart football fans that I love you guys because I can't tell you how much I appreciate this because I go on social media and I got people talking about, I'm not joking. I saw about 50 mock trades for Deshaun Watson. One of them was the number 2 overall pick, Darnold for Watson, and the number 1 pick in 2022. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. I've seen some stupid shit, man. So like having smart sports fans to talk football with is a real treat. I can't tell you how much I just love doing this and how much I look forward to doing this. Jimmy says, I think the Chiefs have it easier against the Browns than the Bills do against the Ravens. I agree with that. The Bills, Ravens, you can make a strong case either way. With the Chiefs and the Browns, there's no way if the Chiefs come out and play an A+ game, they lose that game. The Browns have to get lucky. They have to get some turnovers. They have to get some different things going on in order to win. Where the Bills Ravens, I think, is pretty par. I think both of them, if they play an A+ game. But here's the thing: the Browns have to play an A+ game and hope the Chiefs, mess up. They hope they have a snap over the head. They have to have mistakes. Things have to go wrong for Kansas City in order to win. We're the Bills and Ravens. I think they're more evenly matched. So Lamar is on a mission. He looked good, man. Lamar impressed me a lot. Me too. But they need to do more against Buffalo than put up 20. That's not a good Titans defense, and you need to do more. But yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm behind on comments and I'm ranting a little too much. I'm all about Buffalo, but Ravens' run game is a bad matchup. The Ravens' defense will struggle with those receivers. Here's the deal is that they have 3 really good corners. So what they'll do is they'll probably confuse the Bills, I think, a little bit by playing a lot of man. But with Josh Allen this year, they've excelled against man. So it'll be a very interesting matchup. It could be a thing where Marcus Peters gives up a touchdown and then gets a pick 6 the very next series. It's going to be a lot of fun. Out of all the games I'm going to break down, that one and then Bucks and Saints are the two ones that I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things that can go either way. So, what do I think of Marvin Lewis? One of my favorite coaches. Sorry, man. I promise I'm not doing blow, but my nose itches like a motherfucker. Sorry, YouTube algorithm. Did not know he was a candidate for the Lions. He went to Arizona State as a special assistant for Herm, and I thought that was smart. I did not know that he was a candidate. I really didn't know he was a candidate for Detroit. Kind of surprised, to be honest with you, because of his age. But it would be interesting. Kind of surprised though. Goff going to get a second chance at a Super Bowl against the Bills, a redemption arc, maybe. James, I gotta set this up, man. I need to do it soon. I'm sorry I haven't yet. I hear about Caldwell possibly going to the Texans. If he wants to run the same type of defense, I would have some concerns. Offensively, that might work, but I don't think that's a good fit, man. I don't think that was a good fit. Golden Rooster, apparently Cushing was on right after he won Defensive Player of the Year. I want to say, I don't know the year, but he missed the next season. He missed 4 games due to an NFL suspension. But yeah, he got busted by the NFL, and then there was rumor because he was kind of a crazy dude. But it was funny because I remember that he was on Hard Knocks. I remember his wife said, "Oh, he's the sweetest, nicest boy, and he's the greatest guy." And it's kind of funny, but he was a trash talking dude. I actually was a big Cushing fan. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah. After he won Defensive MVP, they then, it was his team, and then they drafted J.J. Watt, and then he was like the number 2 guy, and he was on the Texans coaching staff. I think it was strength and conditioning for a while. Dude, there's a lot more than you think, and it's not just, there's all sorts of supplements that the NFL bans, and there's all sorts of supplements, and there's all sorts of workarounds. It's still pretty crazy, but yeah, you can't. Some of these guys just, you can tell. It's like, no, it's not natural for you to be 230, 240 and be one of the top 10,000 fastest people in the world, which a lot of these guys are. I mean, you have to understand, Tyreek Hill is probably, he was talking about going out for the Olympics as a sprinter. He's legitimately one of the fastest 100 people in the world. And he's a wide receiver, but a lot of players are on all sorts of stuff. Cush was the strength and that's right. That's right. He did strength and conditioning. He was still lifting like a maniac and everything too. That's right. I forgot about that, but yeah, a couple of the players for Houston did test dirty. Yeah, the dude was badass. He was a bad linebacker. I think I'm going to take my Rams as my upset this weekend. Was right about the Browns. I might be right again this Saturday. When I do my Friday breakdowns, you don't gamble, but I'm going to give some breakdown. I'll give some gambling advice, and I'll also leave. I don't have it on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to my bookie. I don't recommend it, but if you want to do some online betting, because there's a lot of things. Kelsey receptions and yards has been cleaning up for Vegas gamblers all year long, and that may be something you want to get into, not get into. One of these days, I'm going to do a little 101 gambling video. I've been meaning to do that. I've been meaning to do a lot of things, so I apologize about that, but it might be something you might be into. Maybe not, and that's okay. You don't have to be a gambler, but when I say I'm a football expert, I bet on football, I make a profit, and that's how I post my receipts. That's how I say, hey, look, I bet on football. I make money betting on the National Football League. I'm an amateur handicapper, hoping to be a professional handicapper someday. Hopefully I don't need my 9 to 5 that I work 6 days a week, but sooner or later, sooner or later. But right now, this year I only made a couple hundred. This year, unless these playoff games just explode for me. So I don't understand how the Lions don't have their coach. Okay, actually, One Pride 40, the coach makes a lot of sense because you still have 4 playoff teams, especially a guy like Eric Bieniemy. And another thing is that the Lions have interviewed multiple people. I think that's a good move. They're in no hurry. They're in no rush. They're going to make the right decision. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So don't worry about it, especially the coach. And they're interviewing GMs all the time. So it's actually a good thing, believe it or not. So don't be too impatient. But I think that the Lions are actually going to do a good job. And I also heard Saleh was looking at Philly and New York. That's a great move because I know that Lions fans are really high on Saleh. He's not a good fit. I'm telling you that right now. I think they're the number 1 running offense. Cleveland, I think for the playoffs overall this year, I don't know. I want to say it was Tennessee, but the running game scares me. The running game scares me. The positive is that the Chiefs had some issues on the defensive line. They're going to be ready to go. But I'm going to break down all 4 games in a lot of depth on Friday's show, and I got kind of a system of how I want to do it. I haven't worked it out yet because originally I wasn't going to do a show, but then I was like, man, National Championship, Pederson fired. Great wild card games. Let's just do a Wednesday show. Next week, I'm only going to do a Friday show. So sorry about that, but I think it's a good thing to do. And then right after the combine, I'm going to do a buttload of draft videos. So anybody who wants to talk draft stuff, you're in the right place. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. It would also help me if you drop a comment below. Not required to, of course, but it would mean a lot to me if you don't mind drop a comment. And like I said, I have no idea what YouTube's doing. I'm looking at StreamYard, so I may have 5,000 thumbs down. I have no idea, but give me a thumbs up, man. That's my shameless ploy. Okay, I'm really behind on comments. Sorry, guys. Devontae, yes. I am really looking forward to that Music City guy, Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. Side note, because of that matchup, Rodgers is going to have to look elsewhere. And his offensive line's banged up. You got Aaron Donald. That could be an upset. It could be a Rams upset. I love this chat. It's you especially you. Well, you know what? Especially everybody, but there's been several times, starting with the comment you made in last year's draft, where me or you just going back and forth, and neither one of us insulted each other. So many smart fans are in this chat, and so much great information I get, and that's kind of the reason why I do it, is so I'm learning things. I'm here in Kansas City. I know all the ins and outs of the Kansas City Chiefs pretty much. I feel comfortable with the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to know the ins and outs of 31 other teams, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is that, hey, look, what's the inside scoop on this? So, and you guys tell me that. I want to know the inside scoop on Detroit, what they're going to do in the draft, and yeah. Smart fans. No. You're right here. And not only that, you were me and you did a lot of talk for the Chiefs draft. And I tried telling you, the Chiefs were interested in a running back in round 1. I just didn't think it was CEH. I thought it was going to be Swift. But no, you're in the right place, Stevie. You're definitely I admit a casual fan. You guys are awesome. You are awesome. And I also like the attitude that you had, especially last year. Handled things the right way, handled things with class. I'm sorry your team lost against the Ravens. But no, you're awesome, man. But yeah, everybody in the chat here is A+ guys. I'm interested in we are interested in Dan Campbell, which I actually didn't know that. I didn't know you guys were interested in Dan Campbell. That would be a good fit. I think it would be a great fit, to tell you the truth. I've learned more from this chat about the Texans, Titans, Chiefs, Lions, Chargers, and many others than any other national spin doctors. Yeah, exactly. That was the whole reason I made this channel, because I want to hear from 32 teams. Keep on. I can shut off the comments right now. I can shut off the chat right now. It's very easy. One click, and I could talk 10 minutes on all 32 teams. I have a basic knowledge on all 32 teams, but I want to hear the inside scoop. I want to hear what your opinion is of your Broncos and Florida Gators. I'm going to do a lot more college stuff in the future. My time's limited, so, but yeah. I love the chat. I love getting the inside scoop, but yeah, everything I get in the comments is top shelf. I'm not joking. Everything I get in the comments is top shelf. Top drawer, right on. Yeah. Top drawer, top shelf. Yeah, man. This is seriously, you guys are great. I'm kind of the moderator here, so but yeah, this is awesome. Never heard of top drawer, but the more you think about it, yeah, I like it. One of us is behind in the chat because you answered my question twice. I'm sorry, that's probably me, man. I'm sure Rooster. I don't think he was, but you let me know. Oh shit. I fucked that up, man. Okay. I'm behind, so my bad. Gator, it's better to get an understanding of teams from fans than from the national sports news. Those pundits only want to spin the story like the Watson. Exactly. And I want the inside scoop, man. I want the inside scoop. Now, I knew this. I knew that there was no way they're going to. You follow me now on Twitter. I retweeted that. I want to say from Houston Chronicle. He's a longtime sports reporter in Houston. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's like, don't buy into this. And I retweeted that. And then I saw another like 30 mock trades for Deshaun Watson. So yeah. Now we're even coming up with sayings, man. This is seriously, this is a really great show. This is a great show. This is a great channel. And it's a great channel because I got smart people that want to go ahead and talk football, people that bring in great stuff. So yeah. Absolutely, man. Seahawks versus Steelers Super Bowl. Let's go. The two teams I bet on. The national media is also an echo chamber. Yeah, exactly. Stephen A. His story and how he came up and his work ethic is top notch. So, but now that he's way up there, he just says things for fun. It's just stuff that it's just hot take stuff. A lot of ESPN guys, it's not anything that they're doing for research or to try to help out or for like me. I'm trying to find ins and outs so I can make some money betting on football. And also I just want to talk football. But a lot of the national media now, it's just hot take stuff, to get a rise out of people, So yeah. And then, they say something, somebody else repeats it. I don't get that here. Here I get some really smart sports fans. So I'm sorry, Golden Rooster. I think they do. And that's kind of funny because the Bills are favored, but the Ravens do have the better running game and they have the better defense. That's good. That's going to be an interesting. I'm going to break down all these games in intense detail. One Pride 41's Ed Dodds. I don't blame you. You've been saying this for a while, and I think it'd be a great fit. I think it's a great fit. From what I gathered, he hasn't accepted. I know he's interviewed, but he hasn't accepted. So about the running offense, yeah, I got you. The Ratbirds overall, yeah. I messed up. That was my mistake. Says Colbert does sign with Detroit. What coach do you think he would look for? Did Colbert say? I didn't know about this. So being that you're coming from the Steelers, you're okay. Just 101. They hired Mike Tomlin. He was a young defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Bill Cowher, young defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. So if he does sign with Detroit, you'd probably be looking at a very young coordinator, first time guy. That the guy that would probably fit that definition would be Saleh. But I didn't know Colbert was a candidate. I didn't know he was there. But if Colbert took that position, I would see him going with Saleh. Just judging. So, Stevie, I haven't watched any college football this past season, so I need some good content to lead me in the right direction of who to go back and watch video of. You can just watch Alabama. They have several players that are going to go in the first round, not the quarterback. Don't buy into the hype. He's not first round guy, but I do want to see how he does the combine. He could surprise people and go in the second. Clemson has a lot of good guys. Trying to think of somebody else, another team. I know Ohio State has a great recruiting class to send several people to the NFL. I will say this: if you want to see something that looks a lot like Mahomes, watch Kyle Wilson out BYU. He has some wow moments. So I'm going to tell you SEC, but I try to watch, even though I don't watch a lot of college football, I try to watch a lot of SEC football because I know I'm seeing a lot of future pros. How about Valdir getting to play in the playoffs for two different teams the same year? He tested positive for COVID. He's not going to play. And they were worried that because it was after he tested positive, after he arrived in Green Bay. And that's something that might change. For those of you who don't know the story, he signed to the Colts practice squad. And because he did play in the game, but he wasn't part of the active roster. Don't ask me to go into the specifics. But now he was signed to play for Green Bay. He went up ahead to Green Bay. He was slated to start. Then he tested positive for COVID. Another reason why the Rams could win this game is that the guy they signed off the streets to protect their 36, 37, 38-year-old quarterback is now tested positive for COVID. Very interesting story. Surprised nobody's looking at Borgonzi from you guys. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. That guy. I didn't know. Cool. The Colbert. Okay. I'm behind. What do I think of Dan Campbell? I actually didn't know he was a candidate, and a former NFL tight end. Really good coach. I didn't know he was a candidate. But I really like the guy. It's an interesting kind of outside the box fit for the Detroit Lions, but I do like it. Alex won't allow fans from 32 teams. No, Alex will not allow anybody from. I do want to get a Cowboys fan. I got several friends that are Cowboys fans, so. Campbell looks like PC Principal he kind of does, man. He kind of does. Adam Gase for offense. Seriously, that would make sense. That would actually make a lot of sense. But it looks like he's been interviewing for head coaching jobs, which I don't believe. But yeah. How's Campbell fit now? Okay. I'm behind on comments. I'm going to keep this short. That Y9 cover 3 defense, you have to atom bomb that defense. It's nowhere even close to a fit. Okay? You have to atom bomb that defense. He knows nothing about the offensive side of the ball. First-time head coach. Campbell had a few games of coaching experience, one way or another. But bottom line, when you run a system defense and you don't have that system in place, and then you have all sorts of questions on the offensive side of the ball, it's a bad fit. If you would have brought him in after Caldwell, I'd be a lot more higher on it. But you revamp that front seven. It's going to take 2 years. He doesn't have head coaching experience. And the NFC North is a tough division. I don't see where everybody's saying he's this great coordinator. They've had 3 out of 4 losing seasons, and the one you how much talent did that defensive line have? You had Armstead, you had Buckner, you had Bosa. Yeah, they were a middle of the pack defense with a lot of injuries. I don't see greatness. I don't see greatness. Campbell is an outside the box thinker, more of a player's coach. A lot of similar things, but I don't think that he's not a guy who brings in a system. I always avoid coaches that want to bring in a system. We're going to play this way. This is how we're going to play. The last guy did that was Patricia, very inflexible. I like a coach who's going to come in and say, I'm going to put my players in the best position to succeed. That's something Campbell would do. That's not something Saleh would do. That's very short, small. Now, I think Saleh would be a great fit. And believe it or not, I actually think he'd be a decent fit with the Jets. I think his best fit would be with the Chargers. That's all right. And that's rudimentary, and that's very oversimplified. But I mean, I'm behind on comments, so I apologize. But yeah, I think Campbell, and I'm not saying he's a fit. I think it's outside the box, but I do like it. It's risky because he doesn't have a lot of experience, but he is a former tight ends coach, so that's interesting. To think about how they could have been a fit and he not already been there. That is. Oh, you okay? You're talking about Adam Gase. Never. Okay, yeah. Okay. Hey, Stevie, I could turn you on to some good college football content to follow. I'm all about some college football. Yeah, Denver Gator loves college football. Stevie, if you don't already, it should be below. Follow me on Twitter. Denver Gators on Twitter. So is Alex. I tweet on Facebook. I post way too much of me at the gym, but I do have a Facebook fan page. I have all my social media links. Follow me on Twitter. Get a hold of Denver Gator. Get a hold of Alex. Denver Gator does know his college football. So, and that's something I'm going to get a lot more into. Stevie's really big on the draft. We're going to do a lot of draft stuff, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I work 6 days a week, so I understand. So, Patricia disappeared. You might see him on the billboard as a spokesman. I actually thought that he would end up back in New England. He may take a year off and just, hang out or something. I don't know. The Falcons had a second interview with Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, and then had dinner with reps from the Jets in New York, so maybe Smith to Atlanta. And I like that move. There's a lot of people that wonder. Arthur Smith, I want to say his dad or his granddad is like the president or owner of FedEx, so he grew up rich, and some people are like, don't think that's a red flag. I don't think it's a red flag because he's done such a great job as a coach, very creative guy. I think he'd be a good fit. He'll be a head coach. I'm just not sure where. If he ends up in Atlanta, I think it'd be a good fit. If he ends up in New York, I think it'd be a good fit. When I say good, you really don't know because he's never been a coach before. And that's been the trend. There was a trend that you wanted to reuse head coaches. Now it's who's the hot assistant. And Arthur Smith is a hot assistant. So, yeah. I managed to turn into national championship to get into the fourth. Laughed the score. Yeah, it was not much of a game. It was funny. Somebody pointed out, what would the point spread be between 2019 LSU and 2020 Bama? And I was the only person that said I would put Bama as a 1.5 point favorite. So I'm the only person that thinks that this Bama team was better than LSU last year, but that's just me. Yeah. You tuned in the fourth quarter, nothing to see there. I say top drawer because I love watching the 70s show. And there's an episode where Eric says at a fancy party at Jackie's daydream about how the party was supposed to be. Kelso ends up starting a fire instead. I haven't watched that show in a long time. I'm gonna use it, man. I'm gonna use it. I think it's cool as hell, man. I'm gonna use it. To be honest, when Lions played the Chiefs, I was impressed. But yeah, they did a good job. The only thing is they mismanaged the clock completely. They scored too quick at the end, and I knew that when it was I want to say it was 2nd and 2, and what they did is they threw the ball deep. They were like at midfield. They threw the ball into the 8, and it was like with 3:30 left. I'm like, okay, we got it, because I knew we were going to get Mahomes back with 2 minutes left. He did that often, but he's an excellent coach. Believe it or not. Okay, I'm going to say something's going to piss some people off. He's an excellent coach. He knows his X's and O's. Really good on defense, overmatched as a head coach, and did not communicate well to players, didn't have paper skills. Are they going to have a combine? I heard rumors. They are going to have a combine. I'm not sure how. I don't know the specifics. I believe they will. Denver Gator said it right. F COVID, and Mike, Mike, if you don't want me to say anything, put something in real quick. But he had the vaccine, and he's doing well, so I'm glad he's back. So the vaccine seems to be working. I've heard some bad rumors, but this is not that type of show. But I'm glad you commented today, Mike. And to the best of my knowledge, you're doing great, so that's a good thing. Steve Quinn failed Patricia, built his defense from the Patriots, and drafted people that can't get on the field in the front 7. Bryant, Hannah, Curl, all injured. And then also I felt that Okudah, I'll add on that, Okudah did not fit. Okudah, I actually went back and forth with a Lions fan about Okudah and how the Lions are going to have a bad defense. And finally, I had to get strong with them. I'm like, okay, if you think they're a playoff team, to over under 6.5, are you betting on them? Nothing. I didn't hear anything back because he knew I was right. But yeah, you're right. There was a disconnect between the two. Injuries, a lot of different things. But could Patricia have success as a defensive coordinator somewhere? Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's a Cowboys fan in the chat, I want there to be. And Alex, as long as you're not, I'm going to let you have a lot of leeway, to be honest with you, Alex. I'm going to let you have a lot of leeway if I ever get a Cowboys fan. I'm going to let you have a lot of leeway because I've enjoyed having you on here, and I love trash talk. And the Cowboys fans I knew were really, really pretty delusional, you know. So yeah, if I ever do get a Cowboys fan, you get lots of leeway. Remind me in case I have to hide a comment. PC principal. I'm thinking about it too, man. I didn't put the two together, but he does remind me of PC Principal. I actually have some Oakleys on. I should put them on right now. Bro! I'm not even going to try to do the impression. I didn't know that. I didn't know that because I heard that he was interviewing for different positions. So Campbell's either Vrabel or Patricia. No in between. I could see that, but the one big difference that Vrabel and Campbell have is they're former players, they're players coaches. Patricia's not that guy. Patricia was a guy who was seen as a very X's and O's guy, knows his stuff, but a big issue that he had was being able to relate the players and get the most out of players, where Vrabel and Campbell and Salah would be able to get the most out of guys. So I'm so glad I don't use Facebook anymore. Not sure I could check in on Jim. I use it because I try to promote my show on it. And then, I post pictures of me at the gym. They have the check-in feature, and I didn't realize I did it so much. And I started looking through here, and I was like, oh shit, I got like, what? Okay, I'm trying to bench press 3 plates, which is 345s on each side. And so every Saturday, and I've done this like 4 Saturdays, I failed to do it. So I posted a picture on Facebook, motivation for myself. So yeah. But we get along good on Twitter. I don't think I post any gym Twitter pics. So yeah, that would be interesting. Is that his friend? Okay, founder. No. I've heard that he is humble and he works hard, and that's what you got to be. And he. I think that's a positive, not a negative. once you get to coordinator level, you know the work, you know what needs to be done. So would I want a guy whose dad has a $1 billion business like FedEx as a assistant quarterbacks coach? Or if you ever watch the show where they talk about what Jim Schwartz, I'm trying to think, it was all the Patriots guys and like Thomas Dimitroff. They called them flappies. They had to like cut the grass, pick up players, get coffee, and do all that stuff. I don't know if I'd want to hire a guy like that to be one of those guys to start at the bottom. But once you hit coordinator level, yeah, I think it's yeah. So no, they failed each other. Yeah. It was a big disconnect. That's why it's really important that who they hire, GM and coach, they got to get on the same page, because it's a rebuilding project and it's a tough division too. So Texans asked an interview with him. Will they get Smith? I don't know. I would like him though. I think I always like it when you poach a coach from a divisional rival, because you know what you're going against. And Texans gave the Titans a ton of trouble. So I would like it. So, yeah. I'm glad to hear that, Mike. I'm sorry I didn't want to talk personal about you, but thank you. Thank you very, very, very much for revealing that and letting me know. I appreciate it. They did, but doesn't mean they're going to look all over for a head coach. Yeah. It would be interesting. I really think that a lot of these teams are going to wait till the Super Bowl's over. So, yeah. I think they'll take their time. It wouldn't surprise me if we got a couple weeks, and then after the Super Bowl's over, then you'll have maybe a week after that, and we're still going to have shows after the Super Bowl. I'm going to have a show every Friday. Just even right after the Super Bowl, I'll have a show that Friday, and every Friday we'll just have a show talk about football, talk about the draft, talk about things that are going on, and we'll kind of go from there. It would be a dogfight. I'm sorry, I got behind, so I'm not sure. He actually would be a great fit. He would actually be a great fit in Tennessee. When Pease left, it left a big hole. The Dean Pease was really good. He retired after last year, and the defense went downhill. A lot of it had to do with Beasley and Clowney not working out. If either one of those guys worked out, things may be different. I've been trying for a while. I do it on the Smith machine, so it's 285. I can do 275. And I've not been able to do 285. I've been jumping from 270 to 285, and then I take a picture, post it on Facebook, and I need to quit doing that. So, but yeah, I tried to be civil, but if you get a Ratbirds fan, I still got family in Baltimore. None of them's joined the show so far. But yeah. So Ratbirds and Cowboys fans are out. And Music City guy, I will give you a lot of leeway if I get a Ratbirds fan. I love Ratbirds, by the way. That's awesome. What? I didn't know Saban was leaving. If you've had a hernia, don't go to the I'm doing something different. I've never done this before. I like to run. I like to jog, and then I'm doing what's called a dirty bulk. I just tried to put on weight, and my weight went from like 170. I'm at like almost 195, which is, I feel like Santa Claus. I feel like this giant lard ass, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. It's also the strongest I've ever been, but here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try to drop down to like 175. So, I didn't know about Bill O'Brien because they hired Mike Bobo, but I had no idea Saban was stepping down. So wow. They said Vrabel would be a bad candidate in LaFleur. I was high on Vrabel. I thought LaFleur was a massive mistake. I thought it was a massive mistake. So, wow. Okay, yeah. I'm going to give you some leeway if I get a Cowboys fan, but I do want Cowboys fans. I didn't know this at all. So, yeah. Did I watch the Saints Bears on Nickelodeon? No, I did not. No, I did not. But I heard it, depending on who you talk to, I heard it was awesome. And then there was all sorts of stuff. But I did not. There was an F-bomb? No, I didn't. I DVR all football. And I need to because sometimes I want to watch plays over again. I also, when I don't need to watch things over again, I just want to hurry up and watch the game. I got a technique. As soon as the ball hits the ground and plays over, I fast forward 30 seconds. I can watch a football game in about 30 to 40 minutes. And that's usually what I do. Because I try to watch as many games as I can. Plus, I try to watch the red zone. With the playoffs, I do it a little differently. I let it run a little longer. I don't skip around as much. But occasionally, on a sack, I try to watch what scheme that they're running. If it's a stunt, if it's just a defensive end beating the tackle, did the tackle get out of the stance late? Did he use bad technique? I'm always paying attention to minor details like that. But I didn't DVR it, but I heard it was awesome. So I think them hiring Dan Quinn was a bad choice. I don't because the personnel's in play and Dan Quinn can get them to a mediocre defense, which is all they want to be. That's all they want to be. And because he has head coaching experience and because it's the system's very similar to what Marinelli had in 2019, I actually think it was a good choice. I think it's a good choice as defensive coordinator. So I wish I would have seen this. There was an F-bomb. Okay, I promise. My nose itches like hell. I promise it's not blow. I wish I would have seen this. Chicago player yelled, oh man, there wasn't. I wish I would have seen this. Nick Trubisky got the Nickelodeon MVP. No, I didn't. I watched it the other version, but I heard it was awesome. But everybody's got a different opinion. Like I said, I DVR the game, so I'm flipping back and forth. I had a buddy of mine try to watch a game with me once, and finally he's just like, "Yeah, I got a headache," and I'm like, "Dude." Long story short, he's a guy I don't hang out with anymore, but it was like right first quarter of the Chiefs game was over, whatever, pounding on my door, and he's like, let me. And I was like, dude, what's up? He goes, dude, my TV got shut down, or he's one of those guys that like always had a problem. And anyway, long short, I was like, yeah, come on in, let's watch the game. And then he's like, dude, can you quit flipping around? And I'm like, I didn't even ask you to come over. You just, anyway. Long and short, I watch Chiefs games and all football by myself, and I bounce around big time when I watch games. So, yeah, it's very – so, no, I didn't want to watch the Nickelodeon, but I heard it was awesome. Quinn is the emergency backup plan for when McCarthy craps the bed. Nice to head coach week 9. It didn't occur to me, but he was that Cowboys game pretty much got Quinn fired. So another thing is that you have to realize one thing about they're giving Quinn a boatload of money in Dallas. They're giving him a boatload of money, even though there's not any Cowboys fans here. One thing I will say about Jerry Jones is that he does pay his coaches and he does pay his assistants really, really well. So he's getting a nice paycheck from the Dallas Cowboys. Keep in mind, they're not asking the Cowboys defense to be a top 10 defense. They just need them to be mediocre. And that's the same exact thing Mike McCarthy did in Green Bay. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. But I will say this, that I think the Cowboys are not in bad shape going into 2021, depending on what they do at quarterback. That'll be very interesting. So I was just looking at the situation in Alabama. There's some places saying he'll take a dual head coach role. It's a confusing situation, but I know Bill O'Brien is getting hired by Alabama. Okay, because I thought I was positive Mike Bobo was taking the offensive coordinator position. I had no idea Saban wanted to step down. I mean, he did win number 7, so he's won more national championships than anybody in college football history. I mean, he's up there in age. I always thought that he may want to come back to the NFL, try for like a 3 to 5 year stretch, and then if he wanted to go back to college, he could pick and choose his job. But I was really, really surprised. Bill O'Brien, I'm surprised. Alex, I find it hard to believe Saban won't be there. Good. And I hope there never will be. I didn't know any of this, so I'm glad you guys told me. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I'll look into it. Hey, man, Friday, here's the drill. Friday, I have an idea of how I want to do the show. I'm going to end up doing in-depth detail for all 4 games. I'm going to show how each team can win the game. A lot less gambling, a lot more just in-depth detail, but I do have some gambling predictions. In case you're going to miss the show and you're interested, I'm telling you right now, prop bets for Kansas City is probably the way to go. Mahomes, Kelsey, and if Sammy Watkins plays, he went over on receiving yards. I took that prop bet in the Super Bowl. That's a good one. So that's a spoiler, but I'm going to go into in-depth detail, not as much gambling, but just in-depth detail on all 4 games on Friday. So Arthur Smith came in for a second interview. One Pride 40, are you talking about Detroit? I had no idea he came in for a second interview at Detroit. I thought he had a second interview with the Jets, and that was it. I didn't know he had one with Detroit. But I will say this. We've been on for a little over an hour 30. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Listen, hey, Friday, in-depth detail, but as always, if you have a question, I have an answer. You put a comment in, I'll go ahead and we'll read it on the air. We'll get some discussion. We'll start talking about it. This is a great setup. So yeah. Saban got 7 and he was tied with, what Nick Saban is probably the greatest college football head coach of all time. Some people want to say recruiter, that's fine. But yeah, what he's done is amazing. I didn't know he was stepping down. I didn't know Bill O'Brien was going there. I'll do some research on this, and we'll talk about that Friday, as well as all 4 playoff games. And also in the meantime, you can always email me. All my social media is below, so you can follow me on any social media platform of your choice. And let's see. I'll just go through these real fast here. Good night, my guy. As always, hey, man, Funk, you are always top drawer, so thanks a lot, brother. Arthur Smith came into – I didn't know that. And Alex, yeah, man, I'm actually going to the gym, and no Facebook picture. And then Friday's show is going to be great. We'll talk about all 4 divisional games. So, hey, see you guys on Friday.